Hi everyone, I'm Ken from Crypto Trading KS. If you're new, a very warm welcome and welcome back KS family. I hope you had a really great Easter break and thank you everyone for your comments, just beautiful. Let's run the numbers. This week is a big data week. Out tomorrow, the CPI month on month, year on year. The following day, the FOMC meeting minutes come out, as well as the core PPI and the PPI and also unemployment claims, followed later in the week by core retail sales and preliminary consumer sentiment. Due to the banking crisis, a lot of people are hoping for a Fed pivot. Currently, there's a 70.5% probability of a 25 basis point increase at the next FOMC meeting. In the last trading session, global markets were relatively green. All sectors ended up 0.1% on the day. Communication services, utilities and information technology were hit the most. The best ones, materials, energy and industrials. We can see some of the big names, Microsoft and Google, Meta, all came down, as did Apple, but Nvidia and AMD did quite well. Let's have a quick look across the top names and we can see Microsoft overcoming a resistance level and making its way up. Google is still under resistance, but it's making its way up towards the 122 mark. Apple has hit resistance and just rebounding a little. Nvidia on its AI play and AMD on its AI play as well. They're both doing very well. Always remember, price is continuously moving in a wave. It's always going up and down. When we get these really big waves up, it's natural to get a retracement. Nobody expects it at the time, but they are definitely baked into price action. ExxonMobil has been doing quite well. And when we look at Walmart is coming up to an area of resistance, and Procter & Gamble is doing quite well. It's actually overcome resistance, but it's heading up to another level of resistance at the moment. You can see that level of resistance around the 158 mark. AI is a total game changer, and ChatGPT could add 40 billion to Microsoft's top line. AI is the new gold rush. Generative AI ended 2022 as nearly 11 billion market cap, and it's expected to grow at 31% compound average annual rate to 152 billion in 2032. It's definitely an area you should be considering. AI requires very, very powerful processors, and those processors, those microchips, 63% of them come from Taiwan. Always remember, politics is economics. France's Prime Minister Emmanuel Macron draws criticism over Taiwan remarks. During the French president's visit to China, he requested that the Chinese leader Xi Jinping to limit Beijing's support for Russia. He also said that if there was a war between Taiwan and China, that Europe should stick to Europe. Senator Marco Rubio said, "Does Macron speak for Macron or does Macron speak for Europe?" Mr. Rubio said the stance France and Europe take on Taiwan could affect how the US approaches Russia's invasion of Ukraine, which is a European war, backed by US military support. China just today concluded its military exercises encircling Taiwan. One thing to remember, politics is always economics. If China takes over Taiwan, it will actually be able to throttle supply for high-end processing. This will have a significant effect on AI. AI opportunities abound in the crypto market as well. Looking at the graph, what we can see relative to Bitcoin's gravity, the graph hasn't really taken off yet. AGIX, Singularity, is very much under Bitcoin's gravity. We always know that Bitcoin's gravity eventually gets made up, so that's something to bear in mind. What we can see is Render, Token and Bitcoin are taking off together. Injective Protocol is way above Bitcoin's gravity. It's showing so much strength. Just like in the stock market, money is continuously flowing in and out of different projects. we can see Rose just moving in alignment with Bitcoin's gravity, not registering any big step up or any big step down at the current time. FET, or Fetch AI, is under Bitcoin's gravity. RLC is very much under Bitcoin's gravity, as is Ocean. Please let me know in the comments, are any of these interesting for you? Having a look at some more AI plays in the crypto market, we can see NMR doing quite well, but look at this diversion, this inversion of Bitcoin's gravity. Bitcoin is coming up, NMR is coming down. Something to bear in mind. PHA is just yet to take off, but it could be an interesting one to keep your eye on. Key is actually doing quite well in terms of following Bitcoin's gravity, but just recently stalled out. Cortex CTXC is also doing well, just aligning with Bitcoin's gravity, but it hasn't taken off by much. What we're looking at is the relativity. We're seeking to spot underperformers and overperformers and see what is actually basing out that could be good to get into and what is topping out and good to get out of or potentially take profits from. PHB is doing quite well. It's just moving in alignment with Bitcoin's gravity, but not doing too much. DIA is just doing pretty much the same, moving in alignment with Bitcoin's gravity. When we look at VidT, VidT is underperforming Bitcoin, but it's very, very spiky. VidT can be a bit of an animal when it comes to volatility, and data is also coming up. Remember that no alt can escape Bitcoin's gravity. As Bitcoin takes off, in time, all the alts will take off too if that uptick is sustained. Always do your three-dimensional risk analysis, understanding that markets can go down, they can go flat, and they can go for you or up. Have three-dimensional thinking at all times, and this takes a little bit of effort to get into this habit, but when you've got it, you do everything completely differently than you would if you didn't know this. Remember that you control the trade or investment. It's the market that controls the return, and that return is based on your active learning, your knowledge and your courage. The market always penalizes blame and gambling and a lack of emotional control. The S&P 500 closed out at 41.09, and we can see there's a lot of smart money sell resistance above the S&P 500 at the present time, and that's getting reflected on Apple's chart. The DXY has been a little bit of a fruit basket just recently. There's a lot of talk of de-dollarization or the death of the US dollar. Please don't buy too much into these things. When you look at the death of the US dollar, it's been predicted for decades and decades. Is it finally going to come true? Maybe, perhaps yes, perhaps no. A sell down in the US dollar is very, very good for equities. We saw the S&P 500 come up in the last trading session, and that's flowed through to positive outcomes in the crypto market, with Bitcoin up 5.62% and Ethereum up 3.5%. It's important to keep your eye on the interplay between different stock market indices and also crypto as measured through Bitcoin. And Masterclass students, you get this live chart in TM6. We've seen the fear gauge of the stock market, the VIX, come down dramatically, but we're also seeing a little bit of risk-off behavior in terms of junk bonds and high-yield corporate debt. What about the bond market? We're getting a bit of a spike up in interest rates. That is decreasing bond prices, and this is largely due for the Fed to actually increase interest rates at the next FOMC meeting. With the CPI and the PPI being released this week, the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, and the PPI, the Producer Price Index, PPI tends to lead CPI because businesses absorb costs, and that goes into consumer goods and services. Both are expected to come down overall, but core CPI is expected to rise. The thing to note is the spike in oil sustainable, or are we going to see a contraction in price? Please let me know your thoughts in the comment. And when we look at the NASDAQ 100, it's aligning very, very nicely. If we get a bit of a spike up in terms of fear and a retracement of the indices. So long as we hold support, we're okay. If you read the newspapers and the headlines, you'd never get out from under your bed. As professional traders and investors, we just say, yes, that's just the news doing news things. They love to create drama. But talking about drama, when we look at geopolitical risk, gold has been doing very, very well. And you can actually buy gold tokenized on the blockchain through PaxG. We've seen a continued decrease in the DXY, and you've noted recently that the DXY has become very, very volatile. It just doesn't know what it's doing. But the weighting is that it's going down in terms of probabilities, but this can be shortly lived, so just be aware of these factors. The crypto market has its own Fear and Greed Index, which is currently 68, measuring greed. Bitcoin is currently trading at 29,903. After many, many weeks of just horizontal flatline behavior, Bitcoin has made a breakout and is heading towards the smart money sell level from 29,957 to 30,166. By many technologists, Bitcoin is looked at as digital gold. In TG34, inside the masterclass, we talk about the longs and the shorts and the relationship between those and price, and we can see the shorts are coming out of the market currently and the longs are starting to come back in. When shorts get liquidated, they become forced buyers, pushing the price up. So we would expect a lot of short liquidations to be in the 24-hour liquidation zones. Let's check it out. Over the past 24 hours, there's been 132.42 million in total liquidations across 26,820 positions. And if you want to avoid getting liquidated, simply buy at spot. The crypto market is so incredibly volatile. You'll still get your good returns without risking the house in the process. Over the past 24 hours, about 89% of total liquidations have been short. What about the past 12 hours? It's higher, 93% short. Past 4 hours, about 95% short. And the past hour, about 91% short. So we can see that big uptick is accompanied by a lot of short liquidations. We can see so far that Bitcoin is leading the charge in terms of the top 7. The greatest gainers in the top 100 in the past 24 hours, Render Token, RNDR, and we covered that earlier, Conflux, Injective, Stacks, Filecoin, LDO, and Bitcoin. It's pretty rare to see Bitcoin in the list of the top gainers. Well done, Bitcoin. When we look at the greatest losers, top 100 past 24 hours, we don't see anything really, except for Pax Gold. Gold is going down. If you're looking for opportunities and you believe this upward surge in Bitcoin has momentum, and it could well have momentum, don't forget your three-dimensional thinking. Always be prepared for outcomes in 3 dimensions simultaneously. Forget about holding 2 opposing thoughts. Hold 3, it's much more fun. What we understand, no alt can escape Bitcoin's gravity, and we've seen that Bitcoin has been in the list of the top gainers. When we compare it to Ethereum, and just remember, a big event is happening in Ethereum. What is the Shanghai upgrade? It's scheduled for April the 12th. That will allow network validators to withdraw funds that have been locked up to secure the network since December 2020. The upgrade will complete the network's transition to a proof-of-stake system which started in October 2022 with the merge. Around 18 million ETH will be available for withdrawal following Shanghai. Hence the real question, if you had your ETH locked up, would you sell for 160% gain? Please let me know in the comments. It's really important to put yourself in other people's shoes. This can give you an insight on how the market may move. I look forward to your thoughts in the comments. We can use the knowledge of the masterclass to actually understand how these cryptos may fare out if Bitcoin's ascent is continued, and it could well be. We have to assume it's going to continue until it doesn't, so that means we need flexibility. If we take the base case that Bitcoin has broken over a level of resistance, and even though there's a lot of problems in the economic system, it will continue. What does this mean for the alts? We can see that Ethereum is also getting close to breaking out. It actually did break out here and then it came back. So just bear this in mind. These are the things that can happen. But what are we seeing in BNB? More funds are flowing into BNB. They're getting their confidence from Bitcoin. What about XRP? We're getting the same kind of thing, but XRP has had a stellar run recently, but that doesn't mean it's over by any stretch. What about ADA? ADA is starting to borrow from Bitcoin's gravity, and the more a particular alt is under Bitcoin's gravity, the more potential it has to slingshot back to Bitcoin's gravity. We can see also that Doge is getting that directional alignment, as is Solana. But you can see Matic and Solana are quite suppressed in terms of the other top 8 cryptos. What do you think Matic and Solana will do next? Please let me know in the comments. This is all part of your active learning. When you get really actively involved in your learning, it's a game changer. Looking towards the next 8 top cryptos, and I would urge you to kind of just hang around the top 16. As you can see, you can do really well from the top 16 anyway. Of course, that's completely your call, and there's always really fascinating projects to consider. When we look at DOT, DOT is very much below Bitcoin's gravitational pull, 5% versus 35%. And we can see Litecoin is also very much below. We've been having a look at Litecoin recently. Litecoin tends to sell down as Bitcoin is selling down and then overextend it. It does tend to catch up with Bitcoin over time. SHIB, we can see 4% versus 36%. And Tron. Of course, Tron and BNB have been in the SEC's crosshairs, so just bear that in mind. XRP is the poster child for the SEC action, but hopefully XRP will win that case. If it does, it will send shockwaves of adoption throughout all markets. We can see that AVAX is a little bit stronger. And what about Link? It's lagging Bitcoin's gravity by quite a huge amount. Uni is substantially under, nearly negative 4% versus Bitcoin's positive 35%, a very big difference. Atom is also severely underwater, down negative 6% versus Bitcoin. The weak become strong and the strong become weak. Just keep this on your radar, but it's not going to necessarily happen in the next 15 minutes after you place a trade. It can take time, so it's important to marshal your emotional state. And we can see the CTKS risk indicator is about neutral. It's neither down nor up, but it's got an overall positive or bullish bias. Controlling your emotional state, not making money the focus of investing and trading. And you would say, Ken, that's so counterintuitive. The reason that I put money into any particular thing, stock market, forex, crypto, commodities, whatever it is to make money. And after doing it for many, many decades, if you focus on the money, you're going to lose your money. You need to focus on your approach, on how you actually guard your emotional state from fear and how you install courage. The markets are very, very volatile, and crypto is the most volatile market of them all. I would like to thank everybody for your very kind and beautiful comments. We have such an amazing global family. It's just an honor and a privilege for Kate and I to be here. Have a great day or night ahead, my friends, and Kate and I look forward to catching up with you again tomorrow. Bye for now.